Alright, chat, this video is going to be explaining the reason why people don't ride zebras like it's a horse. I don't know, I saw this randomly on my recommended and I was like, that could be interesting. Let's just watch that. It's
Sheep
like 6
weren't
minutes.
always this fluffy. We fluffified them by breeding the fluffiest in each generation. This is domestication, sculpting wild animals for better human use. As we saw in part 1, for early man, animals were powerful tools: food, clothing, transportation, tractors. Yet though there were animals everywhere, only a handful were domesticated in the pre-modern world. What made these different? Let's make a domestication checklist, shall we? First up, feedable. A cow is a machine that turns grass into steaks, and a tiger a machine that turns steak
It turns grass into steaks.
into tiger. 10 pounds of grass make a pound of steak, and 10 pounds of steak make a pound of tiger. But these have the same number of calories, so you might as well just eat the cow and save yourself a lot of work. So pure carnivores you're not going to domesticate just because of thermodynamics. You're looking for herbivores that aren't picky. They should eat something that's everywhere that you can't eat. Any omnivores better be happy eating whatever and better be super worth it. We are, however, putting the pig before the pen here because first we need to catch something that's friendly. Okay, obviously catching a carnivore is a bad idea anyway because their day job is murder, but plenty of omnivores like grizzlies.
True. Yeah, there's also omnivores that are also their day job is murder, so you're kind of screwed. You gotta pick the ones that are docile and that don't really have a problem with you.
Moonlight in murder. No safety in vegetarians either. Buffalo are terrifying tanks for all the reasons mentioned before. Hippos hold the murder high score in Africa. Giraffes look real dorky until you consider their striking range. Lions mostly leave them alone. Animals it would be awesome to domesticate are not coincidentally super dangerous. War bears would be a hell of an advantage for your tribe, but it's not going to happen. And if it's big and not dangerous, it's a nervous wreck. Try sneaking up on a gazelle? Rhymes with LOL. Sure, you and a team of buddies could spend the whole day marathon jogging it down to exhaustion, but if it doesn't break its own neck as you try to drag it back home, then it's going to casually leap out of whatever pen you built for it. Okay, next up. Some animals have reproductive preferences that make them incompatible with captivity. Looking at you, pandas. The time and energy humans have spent—
I kind of want to know how long it took for humans to start domesticating animals for like farming purposes. Like how many trial and error did it take for us to realize which ones are safe and which ones are not safe?
To get pandas to get on with it is comical. Hunter-gatherers need an animal so eager to breed it gets it wrong sometimes, not an animal whose mating seasons they have to keep careful track of. So friendly, feedable, and fecund, it also needs to grow up fast. This gets us to the heart of domestication versus taming. Again, to domesticate a species is to change it to make it better for us. And side note here, we domesticate plants as well. We've bred them to be monstrous versions of their wild selves. So when hippies talk about going back to nature, they forget that these plants are just as man-made as this Pop-Tart. Anyway, back to the animals. The pig porkification project succeeded because pig generations are shorter than human generations. A single clever human can make porky progress in their lifetime. Compare and contrast elephants. 2 years to make a calf, 5 years in between calves, 9 years until female maturity, 15.
Wait, pigs are born, not hatched. Is their umbilical cord their tail? Is that what I'm looking at right now? What? If that's true, how did I never know that? What? Wait, this is breaking my mind. I gotta look this up later.
Porky progress in their lifetime. Compare and contrast elephants. 2 years to make a calf, 5 years in between calves, 9
Like,
years.
it makes perfect sense because they have coily tails, right? Like, especially a piglet, they have coily tails. But I never would have thought maybe their tail, they don't actually have tails. It's the umbilical cord. What the this is breaking my mind.
Until female maturity, 15 years for males. You've got to be kidding, elephants. There's no time for this. But humans can still tame elephants. You can catch an elephant and train it not to freak out around humans, then put it to work. But elephant domestication would require accurate records over several human lives. Never mind that keeping 1 or 2 tamed elephants around is incredibly costly, which is why war elephants only happened on occasion in already complex societies. Tame elephants are a luxury, hence this rule of thumb. If it's on a farm, it's domesticated. If it's in a circus, it's tame. Finally, families.
No, that makes sense.
Okay, zebra versus horses. Horses are civilization game changers. It's remarkable to think that from thousands BC until the telegraph, a dude on a horse was the best internet available. Horses were domesticated in Eurasia, but humans started in Africa, which has zebra. Why didn't the first...
Yes. This is the question. What? Even in like modern times, why don't people ride zebras? Why can't a zebra be domesticated or tamed? I guess tamed would be the best term for this.
Humans ride out of Africa on the backs of zebra to conquer the world. Because zebra are bastards. They live to kick and bite, dangerous in a pre-penicillin world, and zebra also...
Okay. But here's the question. So are donkeys. Donkeys do the same shit. So why do people ride donkeys? Not as much anymore, but like back in Bible times, people did ride donkeys. You were considered poor if you rode on a donkey, though. That's why Jesus rode on a donkey. Because he wanted to be like everybody else. He didn't want special treatment for being Jesus. They still gave him special treatment anyways. And then they killed him. But that's besides the point.
Also have a ducking reflex, making them very frustrating to lasso. In addition to being a real pain in the ass animal, zebra lack a family structure. Horse herds hierarchy. You can see it when they travel in a line. The male, top female, her foals, second female, her foals, and so on. Humans, by capturing and taming the lead male, become head horse. Lots of barnyard animals are barnyard animals because they have family.
That is crazy. I would have never thought about that in horse formation. And that's the funny part is I've seen the movie Spirit so many times. It's my second favorite movie of all time. I've seen that movie so many times and I never even noticed this. That they had a certain formation. Even though I know all the characters in the movie they're all horses, by the way. Except for the human characters that come in later. After the main character horse gets caught and tamed. Well, attempted to be tamed. Anyways, I never even noticed this. Yeah, it is it's the main character horse. Then it's his mom. We never see the dad, but we do see other families of horses in that same formation now that I think about it.
Values humans exploit. They just grow up with the idea that this human is a funny sort of take charge cow or whatever. No big deal. Chickens will peck until they've worked out who's top chicken. But you know who's really top chicken? We're top chicken. Dogs and cats, this is what makes them different. Dogs will love you and defend you and hunt with you because you're part of the pack. Dogs live to be useful to us, which in the modern world means falling over to play dead, but they love it.
Bang. Good girl, good girl.
Whereas a cat is a tiny tiger that lives in your house. Okay, back to these guys. For zebra, there's no such thing as society. They hang out in groups because it's a good survival strategy, but they don't really care. Catch a zebra and his family won't follow. Try to ride him and you'll be lucky to keep your fingers. Zebra look like horses on the outside, but not on the inside. So that's the checklist. Friendly, feedable, fecund, family friendly. It's not a long checklist, but for hunter-gatherers, any animal they...
But, like, I don't know what a wild donkey is like. This is where it's confusing, because a zebra and a donkey seem like the same thing. Even more so than a zebra and a horse. But I'm being told now that zebras stay in groups, but they don't actually really care about each other that much. Which, you know, I could have... Now that I'm thinking about it, Madagascar 2, Yeah, when Marty joins the other zebras, he just becomes another zebra. There's like there's no individuality. They just stay together because it's the best way to survive. They don't actually care about each other. There's no family dynamic there. But like with the donkey, I've only ever seen one donkey. I've never seen like a herd of donkeys or a group of donkeys or whatever you would call that of donkeys. Even in movies, it's one donkey. When Jesus rode a donkey, it's one donkey. Like, I've never seen multiple donkeys in one place, especially in the wild.
Wanted to domesticate needed everything, which is why in early human history only a baker's dozen of big animals were domesticated the world over.
And donkeys are right there. What is the difference between a donkey and a zebra? I needed this to be explained, but he didn't go through that. Anyways, chat, W video. I just found that really interesting. I thought it would be interesting to watch. Like and subscribe. I'll see y'all later.